a lot of people I see, have neck pain, and it's because they're breathing sympathetically. They're using their shoulders to breathe it, rather than their diaphragms. And these are the accessory muscles for air. They're to get the extra bit of air into your body. And so, definitely, you get a lot of muscles get tight, and because we're ready to go. And particularly when sympathetics get chronic, they get tighter and tighter and more painful, and the joints get more tension as well, and people get stiff and stuff like that, and the body doesn't react.
A good signal that people can recognize in themselves that they are perhaps in this sympathetic response system is that their shoulders are up and their breathing is quite shallow in the top of their lungs, and they're feeling that sort of tightness.
That's a good sign. And obviously, as well, feeling stressed. If you've got anxiety or stuff to worry about, your sympathetics are generally switched on more. Whether it's work or family or whatever. When sympathetics, it's just and they're very powerful. So the sympathetics always win over the parasympathetics. There's a lot more neural sympathetic nervous system in our body than there is parasympathetics.
And that's fair enough, isn't it? If the tiger is going to jump out of the bush and eat you, that you do want that response is literally going to be life or death, which is why we have.
It's all about survival. That's what it's about. Yeah. It's all about survival. And what's so mad, what innervates sympathetic, whatever stresses or whatever threat we have, our body's response is the same throughout everyone. It's just what we're scared of and what we worry about is different. So, which I always found quite interesting. And I was just going to say, if you imagine this is a dial, we've got sympathetics this side and parasympathetics this side, and you can see if the dial goes over towards the sympathetic, there's less and less innervations to the parasympathetics, and vice versa.
So the more stressed you are, essentially, the less functioning your body is going to be.
Yeah, and you think what the parasympathetics does. I mean, it only really kicks in when we're relaxing, chilling, and sleeping. And if you've got sympathetic overtone or too much sympathetics, all this is reduced, especially sleeping. So much healing happens when we sleep. Mm-hmm. And also digestive, it's parasympathetic's got a huge role in digestion. It produces saliva for when, the first thing we do when we eat is we produce saliva, and that's part of the digestive system already. And if the parasympathetics aren't working, you're not producing enough saliva, and that goes all the way into the abdomen. Parasympathetics innervate all the blood vessels and all the walls in the intestines. And so, if they're not getting innervated, there's a strong link between IBS and people being stressed, and it's because your parasympathetic isn't working.
You don't just get that energy. It takes such a lot of physical energy to digest food and then turn it into cells and building blocks for the body. That energy is needed.
It's about the absorption as well. We're not absorbing the energy or getting your nutrients out of your food. You're not going to get energy can't be transferred into the cells, and what you need to get on with. Processing the sugars and the carbohydrates and all the proteins that you eat. If you're not absorbing it properly, you're not getting the full potential or making the energy that you need to get through the day with.
Yeah, unless you get that IBS, that imbalance, because the digestive system isn't able to process and do that absorption so well, so you could end up with sort of looser or tighter digestive system.
Totally. I think it's so strongly linked, IBS to stress, that it just can't be ignored.
Yeah, certainly. And like I find with my clients who come in with say symptoms of stress, so might be neck and shoulder pain, when we start actually delving holistically into their lifestyle and we discover these things like, I have had a consistent digestive complaint, or problem with their reproductive system, or sort of sexual function as well. And it is quite commonly known that when people are trying to conceive, that stress is going to be a major factor. And if you're feeling rather too much stress in your life, that your body isn't going to be the right environment to naturally create a baby. And so much of that is to do with this balance between these two systems, because
that's a really good point you made, actually, because the parasympathetics is what causes or gives us homeostasis in the body, and that means the normal environment, and that's what basically the parasympathetic does in the body. So it's a really, really good point.
And some other common problems that we see, I mean, you and I were talking a little bit beforehand on in terms of like blood pressure and diabetes, and how the two do feed in to everything that the parasympathetic nervous system is then sort of feeds and governs, with that sort of neural and hormonal energy that it sends to these systems in the body, will actually then just cause these ongoing dysfunction to cause disease, such as diabetes. That might be a good point for that diagram, actually, Tim. If you I was supposed to get you bear with me. Can everyone hear us okay? Is our signal coming through live? If you can, just give us a bit of a wave. Thank you.
Oh, I've lost you. Oh, there we are. Okay, sorry. There we are. And so, so we're just talking about anatomy is really, really important to me, and how I work on people, and just having the presence of awareness of where things are in the body are really helpful, especially as a practitioner. And I've got this really nice diagram of the autonomic nervous system here, and everything in red is the sympathetic, and you can see how much more neural input there is and how it goes everywhere. Okay, and
the red is the reactive fight or flight sympathetic, and then the blue is the rest and digest parasympathetic that we're looking at today.
So I was just going. So the sympathetic ganglions run along parallel to the spine, and as an osteopath and a massage therapist, we treat that area a lot. And everyone says when you work through what we call the thorax or the T-spine, this area here, from the bottom of the neck to about a third of the way down, we can reduce what we call the sympathetic tone, and really help improve the parasympathetics just by reducing that tone and the muscle tone in that back there, and improving the joints, how they work, because they sit kind of just very close into the joints, the spine, the sympathetic ganglions. And
that's so interesting. So from that physical tension and that build up, you're then actually triggering more of a sympathetic response, which is
it's an ever-increasing circle.
It does, doesn't it? And this is one of the things that we try and educate people, that when you catch yourself in these tense postures, just by applying a few more relaxation techniques, you're not going to be feeding that tension.
Yeah, it's getting that movement, getting that stretching. If you look at animals, I always say, if you look at animals and babies, they stretch intuitively, and as adults we kind of forget to do it because we just get too obsessed and too stretching. And why do babies and animals do stretch? Because it's nice, it feels nice, and if you extend your back, you can really feel that nice bit of tension in that nice bit of movement, or that satisfying sort of that sensation you get into your back when you lean back. And that's another little way you can reduce that sympathetic tone. And again, osteopath as well, we use
techniques as well. I feel there's a lot of techniques that we can share, but that's really interesting how you can actually see that physiological representation of how that is then.
So I don't know if you can see my pointer. Can you see my pointer?
Can you guys see the pointer okay? If you can you give us a thumbs up? A little faint, but it looks like it's coming across.
A little faint. I'm moving around, so I stopped moving it. And so the parasympathetics, the ganglions, or where they are in the body, or where they originate from the body, are in the cranium and the sacrum, or the head and the tail. And you can see where my pointer is there. These are all what we call the cranial nerves. and they produce tears, saliva, and mucus, which are part of their jobs in the head. And then if we go to where my pointer is, on Cranial Nerve 10, this is the one really what we can really affect. And this is an amazing nerve. This is the vagus nerve. And one of the reasons I think it may be called the vagus nerve, because it's Latin for vagrant. And this nerve wanders all around the body like a vagrant. And so you can see that it infects the heart, the larynx, the trachea, the esophagus, the stomach, all the blood vessels, the abdomen, the liver,
all the big players,
the bladder, the pancreas, small intestines, and I think it's the ascending part of the large intestine. And that just comes from one cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, and it's probably the most amazing nerve in the body, really. It does all that work. And, just being able to help the vagus nerve will help with all these organs that it works. And then we can see that at the tail, there's the sacrum 2, 3, and 4, and this does sort of pelvic, goes into the pelvis areas, so that's the kidneys, the bladder, and the sexual organs, because the parasympathetic's got a big role to play in a sexual arousal. If people who suffer with stress, particularly men, that they have sexual dysfunction is one of the side effects of chronic sympathetic or chronic stress.
There's another thing that engaging this parasympathetic nervous system is going to help. So in so many ways, you can see how it's connected to pretty much every part of our body. You're saying, like for sexual and reproductive, but then the digestive and the excretion of those systems that we already spoke about slightly, but the liver and the pancreas as well, and being those really integral for keeping our bodies clean.
And the gallbladder as well, processing fat. The gallbladder doesn't work properly, gallstones, and it's all part of, and if your body can't break down fats properly, absorb them properly, that causes all sorts of other problems as well.
So it's a lot of talk about stress being like, worse for your health than anything else. And I think we can sort of see why, if you're a smoker, obviously you're going to have respiratory issues. If you're overweight, that, your body, this is going to be strain on all of the systems of your body, particularly the purification areas. But if you're stressed, it's pretty much affecting everything. Yeah.
Shall I take the picture down now?
Yeah, I think everyone's had a good look at that picture. If anyone would like a copy of that, then just let us know. We can always, we can probably put one up in the comments after this live, actually. Yes, yeah. Thanks, Tim.